The developers just did an Ask Me Anything, where fans asked questions and the developers gave us the answers, and we got answers about the Apex Mobile Legends coming to main Apex, Pathfinder buffs, and what's happening next season, so let's just jump into it. The first question was, why hasn't Seer received any updates or buffs compared to other legends? Are there any plans to improve his abilities in the future? And the lead game designer answered, yeah. We're aware that Seer is lying at the bottom of the dream pool. He's on the radar and we've been discussing a few potential changes for Seer in the future. Our current focus lies in the meta changes around the assault class, and we want to highlight skirmishes next, but after those are complete, we'll likely start getting some love back to those underperforming legends. So that shows us for this season, and next season Respawn are focusing on classes, and then they will be rebalancing some of the legends. Moving to the next question, are there any planned updates for specific classes? It seems like certain classes receive updates more frequently than others. Will there be a more balanced approach in the future where all classes are improved equally? To that, the developer responded, Skirmisher class is next. While each class is being focused on and the perks that come online have been coming in fairly hot, we do want to ensure that when all is said and done, each class feels a little more balanced. So, like we saw with the support class, we should expect to see assault class perks simmer down a little after the season, which nicely confirms Skirmisher will be getting the next rework, so these legends will be getting some new passives very soon. Next, we have some really good questions about weapons. The first one is, so far, how satisfied are the Respawn team with the changes? The developer says they're enjoying them. The second question was, accelerated weapons, will these be rotated? And the developer responded, rotating accelerated weapons. The short answer, yes. Slightly longer answer, just like how our hop-up system ebbs and flows with the current meta, as will the accelerated weapon rotation. Expect to see the accelerator hop-up move over to some new guns in the near future. And then the final question about weapons was, since the 1x hollow was removed, I was curious about other scopes. If you're able to share, what scopes are most used and least used? With the developer responded saying, I would really say the most popular optics depend on the weapon meta. Marksman meta, 3 and 2 to 4 times. Shotgun meta, 1 times or no optic, you get the picture. Above all though, the 1x hollow still sat at the bottom of charts for some time, despite the current weapon meta. For some players it was a, I'll use it until I find something better. So, to clean the loot pool, the decision was made to remove it. After this, the developers got a really interesting question, to which they gave a really interesting answer. The question was, in the last AMA, it was hinted that Skirmisher Legends will be buffed soon, and are next. Are there plans to revisit Controller and Recon Legends? They were buffed in Season 2, but their changes were outclassed by larger support and assault buffs. And to that, a developer responded, we do occasionally like to hint at things. There are not currently plans to revisit the Controller and the Recon Legend classes wholesale, and we're more likely to see the other classes come back down to earth, similar to what happened with the support class before a major class perk change. We'd like to see how all the classes land once the dust settles before revisiting. One thing the class focused seasons have shown us is how the legends within each class, while all getting empowered, tend to fight each other for position and focus in the spotlight and meta, and in the future we'd certainly go after changes that could impact characters across the class spectrum, so Seer and Caustic certainly are on our radar. However, we also know there are some concerns with the classes, like with the new change to the max level that impacts the Controller Legends perks greatly. We've discussed we're looking into that. We would like to tackle all these, it will just be a matter of time priority as to which ones go first. More legend releases, yes, new legends are coming. As our design director stated, new legends just haven't had as much impact to the game with a much larger roster, so the speed of release has slowed to focus more on changing the core game experience. Changes that impact more than just one legend and can be felt by a large number of players in Apex to make the game feel like it's fresh and evolving. But that doesn't mean we don't want to add a new piece to the chessboard now and then. Stay tuned, they may be coming sooner than you think. And then because the guy asked something about Legend Mastery, essentially the developer just said, as for Legend Mastery, I can't answer your question. So there's a lot to unpack with this question. First, it confirms that Caustic and Seer are going to be having some big changes soon. Also, Skirmisher class is going to be the next class rework, and Respawn are probably going to release a legend next season. Because, you know, if you're a developer, you're not going to say a legend's releasing sooner than you think, and then have it release 6 months later. So yeah, pretty cool stuff confirmed here. Here's one a lot of you are going to be interested in though. Someone asked, when are you going to give Pathfinder Horizon's passive and put his grapple back on cooldown based on distance. The developer responded by saying, "We have no plans to give Pathfinder the passive of our dear space mom. She has moon boots, he has robot chicken legs. It just doesn't work with the laws of physics. Pathfinder's grapple change was a necessary change at the time. We'll be looking at adjustments to Pathfinder soon." Great, a Pathfinder change confirmed, but we do have to consider that Pathfinder is a skirmisher legend, and skirmishers are going to be getting new passives next season, so maybe the passive will help drag him along a bit. The next question was, please respawn, is there any hope for an alternate or dedicated bind for movement passives besides the jump bind? And if you're not aware what this person is referencing, they want a separate bind for the Valk jetpack and also the Ash dash. The Respawn developer responds by saying, "I totally hear the frustration. It's something we're discussing and actively working on a solution for. There's a number of parameters and side effects that we've had to consider, so it's not exactly a simple change. But we've heard the feedback and we want to make sure we have a clean solution that we have time to test and work out the kinks for. Hopefully we'll have something to tackle this in hand soon." So hopefully this change will be coming soon, man. Here's a big one though. We got a question of, will Fade and Rhapsody from Apex Legends Mobile ever make a return to the game? Which is a good question because recently we've been getting loads of Apex Mobile features on main Apex, like names above POIs, perks, and a few more things. But unfortunately, the developer response was, there are currently no plans to add the Mobile Legends to Apex. This makes me sad. I think the dream just might be over in the regard of Fade coming to Apex. This next question's a pretty interesting one. They ask, what can we expect from the mid-season update? Are the rest of the Assault characters going to receive tuning? Can we bring the energy economy back to what it used to be now the Havoc's in the care package? It's so hard to want to use guns like the Vault or Nemesis when you're fighting for ammo with your team. Also, is there a reason why ammo you get from the crafter got nerfed? Now is easily the worst choice out of the crafter options. The developer responded by saying, "I can speak to energy ammo a bit here, so currently nope, there are no plans to revert the changes on their energy ammo stack size. While Havoc was a driving force for the change originally, all of our energy weapons perform exceedingly well. And, as we've seen with this new TTK, weapons like the L-Star and Volt have seen an uptick in performance. Ammo stack size has been a really good way to control the prevalence of these strong weapons in the meta, so teams aren't always triple stacking L-Stars to beam you down. As for the ammo economy changing the replicators, I covered that here, which was a link to a comment where he essentially said, replicators did take this nerf to push people to arsenals a bit more. And then there's genuinely like 3 comments straight of people asking for the path grapple nerf to be reverted, but then after that we get a very interesting question about Ashe, with the question saying, Ashe might be one of the most fun characters in the game, but she's kind of unfair compared to other legends. I do think some of her abilities lack counterplay, especially the arc snare. IMO, it can be balanced and countered by letting us shoot the arc snare to get it free. For example, normal snares are 40 HP, double tack snares are 20 HP, and then long life snares are 70 HP. Also, she needs some audio when her dash starts and when it finishes, because I don't know how many times I thought someone was in front of me just to see they were behind me. The developer responded, "Glad you're liking the changes to Ashe. Those are some great points of feedback that will take with us. Allowing players to shoot out the snare is something we've contemplated before, and it might be something we revisit. For a long time her snare felt very ineffective and it was far too easy to escape. We wanted to make sure it was doing its job as advertised with a rework for the season. Now that's hitting, we can look further into tweaks to balance it out if necessary. So perhaps we'll be able to shoot arc snares in the future, which would be some good counterplay to her tactical." Also in this thread, a few people were complaining about relic weapons and how they were blatantly unfun and that Respawn should change them. And as they were doing this AMA, Respawn pushed an update to Apex which moved the relic weapon takeover to an LTM, so that is also fixed. This next question though is a big one. It says, "Do you think Ballistic is achieving the utility intended for him? I'm not a very skilled player, so I'm not sure I'm getting the most out of him, but it seems to me that he falls a bit short. Given the change in time to kill, I'd rather use any other assault legend than him, and likewise, I don't perceive him as that big of a threat when he's on the opposing team, unlike Ashe, Bangalore or Maggie." The developer responds, "Ballistic is a tough legend to pin down. His utility comes mainly from his ability to influence the natural gun skill output of a fight, so in the right hands he can be pretty powerful, in the right team he can be a menace. But a lot of his power isn't immediately obvious. His sling requires some maintenance and game knowledge to use effectively, his tactical requires knowledge of how to pressure a team, and his ultimate requires you to take advantage of the speed and stat boosts alongside your team, which can make him difficult to understand the impact more often than we'd like. However, some of the changes this season were aimed to make some of his power more obvious, like the unlimited ammo on crate weapons, speed on ult, and more tacticals. And alongside the assault class perks, it's proven fairly successful. His 1v1 potential is high, and his team deathball action is scary with a coordinated team, which has been reflected by a rise in his pick rate and overall analytics, because Ballistic has climbed from the bottom 5 to top 5 this season. That being said, we can totally see how yourself and other players might not immediately feel the advantages he gives, nor see him as a threat when he's not dashing over everyone's heads like Ash into a slide in one clip, which is something we could continue to work on with the character. If you're going to take anything away from this, is that Ballistic is very powerful, and honestly, I bet everyone's going to figure out how powerful he is in a few months, and then he's going to get nerfed. I think that's what's going to happen personally. But that's the end of the AMA. A lot of questions were repeated, like thousands of people asked about Pathfinder, and it just got slightly annoying. Hopefully Respawn does a bit more of a wide-reaching AMA soon, because I want to ask questions about skins, heirlooms, and then many other things like progression systems. So make sure to subscribe if they do that.